Once a technology becomes part of your routine, the defining question isn't just what it can remember, it's who gets to decide when it forgets.
Imagine opening your AI assistant tomorrow and discovering that months of conversations, tailored preferences, and personal context are scheduled to disappear. Not because you deleted them, not because you stopped paying, but because the company behind the product decided the feature was going away. For millions of users in China, that isn't a hypothetical. It's a notification that hit their apps this week, and it reveals something important about the relationship we're building with AI. On the 10th of April, 2026, 5 Chinese government agencies, led by the Cyberspace Administration, issued a new regulation, the Interim Measures for the Administration of AI Anthropomorphic Interaction Services. One legal scholar described it to CNBC as the world's first attempt to regulate AI designed to simulate human personality and build sustained emotional relationships with users. The rules take effect July 15th, and they require anti-addiction safeguards, including mandatory break reminders and an always-available exit option for any AI built to keep users emotionally engaged over time. Rather than redesign their systems to comply, 2 of China's largest AI apps chose to shut the feature down entirely. Alibaba's Qwen disabled its custom user-created agents on July 10th. ByteDance's Doubao followed, taking its personalized agent feature offline on July 15th. Both companies told users to back up what mattered. ByteDance's notice specifically recommended exporting content through screenshots or text sharing before the cutoff. Doubao is giving users read-only access to their old conversations until October 15th. After that, the data becomes permanently unrecoverable inside the app. Qwen users got a harder deadline. No export tool, no migration path announced at all. This story is rooted in one country's regulation, but the underlying architecture it exposes is global. Memory inside a commercial AI system is never fully yours. It's licensed to you for as long as the platform chooses to provide it. When companies advertise that an AI remembers you, it's easy to internalize that as something personal, almost like building a relationship. Technically, the reality is colder. That memory exists inside infrastructure owned and operated entirely by the provider. The servers, the storage, the terms of service, none of it is under the user's control. That distinction is everything. When a regulation changes, or engineering priorities shift, or a company decides a feature isn't worth rebuilding to new standards, your AI's memory changes with it. In this case, both companies apparently concluded that rebuilding their agent architecture from scratch was more practical than retrofitting it for compliance. That's a real engineering trade-off. But it also means the feature didn't disappear because the technology failed. It disappeared because, weighed against the cost of compliance, the business decided it wasn't worth keeping in its current form.
The people most affected by a shutdown like this aren't casual users looking for a quick chat. They're the ones who invested the most. Users who built a named assistant, a tutor, or a companion with a consistent personality, some of whom, by Doubao's own numbers, were part of a user base of over 340 million monthly active people. When those platform assumptions change overnight, rebuilding lost context isn't seamless. On Weibo, one user described losing their agent as losing long-standing emotional support, and pointed out there was no easy way to export their chat history before it was gone. That reaction is worth sitting with. Not because it proves the regulation is wrong, child safety and anti-addiction protections are the stated goal, and that's a legitimate one, but because it shows how real the sense of loss can be when a platform's memory disappears, regardless of why. Here's the question I'm left with. As AI assistants become more woven into daily life, should users have a right to export their own interaction history before a platform pulls it? Should memory be portable by design, not as an afterthought companies add under regulatory pressure? Or is persistent memory simply a feature companies are free to redesign or remove whenever the cost of keeping it changes? I don't think this story is really about memory. I think it's about dependence. The more we route our routines and our relationships through a company's servers, the more questions of ownership and portability stop being abstract and start being the thing that decides whether months of your own history survives a policy change you had no part in. This won't be the last time an AI provider rethinks how personal data is stored or remembered. China's own rules on agents are still evolving, and Western regulators are watching this exact tension between engagement and user protection closely. The real thing to watch isn't the next flashy feature. It's whether users get real export tools and real notice before the next shutdown, not scrambling to screenshot their own history in the days before a deadline. Because once a technology becomes part of your routine, the defining question isn't just what it can remember. It's who gets to decide when it forgets.
If you found this analysis useful, subscribe to The Skeptical Machine. Every week, we separate the headlines from the incentives, examining what AI companies are really telling us through their decisions. Because in this industry, features can change overnight. Understanding why they changed lasts much longer.